Yeah. वो कुत्ता क्या कर रहे हैं? मुहित मुहित जरा मेरे क्वेश्चन नंबर बोल जरा। फोन कहाँ है? चार्जिंग नहीं है मेरे पास।
The technical team to kindly mute all the participants. Technical team, please mute all the participants. Mr. Altaf, you make our guest Sai Kumar sir as the co-host, please. Technical team, am I audible? Technical team, am I audible? Technical team, kindly make Professor Sai Kumar sir as the co-host. Professor Sai Kumar sir, now can you mute and unmute yourself, sir? Please check.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay, sir. A very good morning to one and all present here. The director of this institution, Mr. Khaja Fasiuddin sir, Dean of this institution, Dr. Mrs. Ravindra Tiwari madam, Principal Dr. JBV Subramaniam sir, heads of various departments, faculty members, and students of Global Institute of Engineering Technology, a very good morning to one and all. It's honor more than pleasure to introduce the speaker of today's webinar, Implementation of National Education Policy 2020. Professor Sai Kumar sir took premature retirement on December 31st, 2014 to pursue his personal agenda. Professor Sai Kumar sir has only one passion, the rise of great youth. He felt something was missing in the academic world. He felt that he needed to do something much more. He wanted to create an impact in the society by inspiring students and faculty, ignite their minds, and involve them in career building. He is a strong believer in citizen social responsibility. In the last 6 years, Sir has delivered more than 600 lectures, conducted more than 150 FDPs, and more than 140 SSDPs at various colleges and universities without taking a single rupee. Professor's firm belief in a regular refresher training modules for teachers, professors made his mark as forward-thinking educationist which has exemplary work by incorporating contemporary methods of teaching. Sir has trained 20,000 plus faculty members and addressed more than 2 lakhs plus students in the past 6 years. Professor is a gifted teacher, noted orator, able academic administrator, and a team worker. He was a mentor to students in molding them for better employment career. He organized a number of conferences, both at national and international level. His passion is to help people reach their personal and professional potential. Sir has been conferred the award of International Man of the Year for IT Education by International Biographical Center, Cambridge. In grateful recognition of his services, CSI has conferred him the Patron Award. He served as a chairman, vice chairman, and secretary CSI. Professor has also been conferred with the Fellow Award of CSI. Sir has received Inspiring Teacher Award from Inspiring Teacher Academy. Sir is a member of several professional bodies and delivered a number of talks on various topics related to information technology. Sir has been the visiting professor for several universities, conducted several workshops for corporate sector on the topics related to software engineering, such as testing, project management, requirements engineering, maintenance, HR, e-commerce, soft skills, etc. Professor has trained several batches of IAS and IPS officers on use of IT and also corporate executives. Sir was adjudged as a best trainer. Professor was a member on numerous recruitment boards, both in public and private sector organizations. Professor served as a member of technical committee for TTD, SBH, AP Technology Services, etc. Professor was a member on DPC for NRSA, IACT, and SBH. Sir designed information systems for district collectorates, municipal corporation, medical and health department, board of secondary education, board of intermediate education, and number of public and private sector organizations. Sir was a member of PM's Steel Trophy to assess the performance of integrated steel plants. He was a member of CSI Nihil International Level E-Governance Awards assessment team for the last 15 years. Sir has visited China, Dubai, Mauritius, Singapore, Malaysia, and Sri Lanka. Professor last served as Dean Academics for 3 years at the Institute of Public Enterprise. He served as a PG Program Director for 7 years. He served as Professor of Computer Science. He authored several books, published a number of papers. Professor has put in 4 decades of experience. In the last 35 years, Sir conducted about 300 plus training programs for the corporate sector. With this brief introduction of yours, sir, I, on behalf of management, staff, and students of Global Institute of Engineering and Technology, welcome you to this webinar on implementation of National Education Policy NEP 2020, organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Global Institute of Engineering and Technology. Sir, I request you to please take up the session. Thank you so much.
Very good morning. Thank you, Professor Jishan, for the nice introduction. Honorable Secretary of the Global Group of Institutions, the Director, Principal, Dean, Heads of Departments, esteemed faculty members, and my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to come back to Global Institute of Engineering and Technology again to address this time on implementation of National Education Policy 2020. Well, the government of India thought about revamping the entire education system. They constituted a committee, and the committee has submitted its report. And it has been 34 years since India made any significant changes to the education system in the country. And however, finally, the NEP was unveiled on the 31st July 2020. In fact, we were supposed to implement from the academic year 2021 because the pandemic that would not be taken up, hopefully we'll be able to implement from this academic year 21-22. And we're all eager to see that it's implemented so the students can get the benefit of this new education policy we're talking about it. This strategy aims to increase public investment education from 4.4% to 6% of GDP. The investment by the government and various other agencies on the education system is very, very low. In fact, 2 sectors are neglected right from the independence, that is education and health, We all have seen the way pandemic has created and brought an awareness how our health infrastructure is ready for this. And now people have to invest in a big way to take care of the people who are affected by the coronavirus. And the same now government has to think about increasing its investment in the education sector, has to look at it. And improve education for nearly 300 million students in the country through a host of reforms you have to bring in. And that's a big challenge to the government to attract people and more to the higher education, that is like engineering, medicine, agriculture, postgraduate, doctoral degrees, and so on. To this end, the policy sets out comprehensive reforms that will affect every student, from the tiny primary school to the first play school to an ambitious master degree program and PhD program. The entire system from KG to PG has been relooked at it. Unfortunately, so far, Indian mindset is we go to the school and then go to the intermediate, then degree, maybe BSc, BCom or BTech or B Pharmacy, whatever it is, and then go to PG, and it's a continuous. What the government of India thought about is, yes, we can give them a break and students can come back after some time. That's the right way of doing. Let's say if student is completed already 10th class, and he would like to take up some because of the financial constraints at the family friend, and he can work for a year or two and then come back and pursue further studies. And same way after graduation, one would like to take a job and then maybe after 2 years come back and then take up. All that exit and entry options are available now. People can do that. Why people thought about this new education policy? Lack of accessibility of higher education institutions identified as one of the reasons for low college university enrollment is happening. Because still rural areas are not fully covered. Okay, urban areas somehow we could cover up, but rural areas far away from this, and that's what the challenge is. India's current gross enrollment ratio at the higher education only just 26.3%, and much lower than the developed countries where all people are talking about 50+%. They're talking about it. We are still at almost half. India's higher education system ripe with high segmentation and specialization. Now we have somehow fragmented everything. Segmentation, we have done it. Engineering, technology, arts, liberal, commerce, and so many segmentation, tight compartmentalization, we have done it. Specialization which prevents students from having a comprehensive understanding of the different concepts. Let's say a student is pursuing BTech program, he simultaneously want to do some liberal arts course. That kind of things was not available in the present thing. New education policy promises that kind of thing. So students can pick and choose the subjects what they want. Of course, the core competency, what they look for is, yes, that remaining is option is given to them. They can pick up any subject of their choice, can undertake that kind of courses. And students studying pharma or engineering, for example, have no room to think about liberal arts. That was the drawback of the earlier system. And now this system do address this kind of lack now which was there. The boundaries of specialization have been set up that students do not get chance to establish an interdisciplinary understanding. It's very, very important in the current scenario. You need to have interdisciplinary approach. For example, look at your cell phone. Cell phone is integration of so many technologies. To begin with, there's a plastic technology, electrical engineering, electronics engineering, communication engineering, metallurgy, and many other fields need to be integrated. Computer science. And that's the interdisciplinary approach what we want to bring in the new education policy of the government of India. Talked about it. And the career management and advancement of faculty in order to institution involved in the higher education was mostly arbitrary based on seniority rather than merit recognition. Now, this policy ensures the merit recognition not just purely by seniority. That means the person who is performing well, he or she will get a chance to move up in the career path, not just purely by seniority. That's another thing which is addressed in the new policy. This led to the de-incentivization of research and innovation has happened. People who did not look at it because seniority and we are automatically they were getting promotions. And that was de-incentivized. And to talk about research and innovation proposals, people talked about it. And finally, universities or colleges are undertaking very, very little research is happening. Forget research, are we doing at least research? Is a question to be looked at. That's a big challenge. And there is much lower scope for conducting any research on any novel futuristic concept. They're not, because teachers are overloaded teaching activity. and maybe some non-academic activities are required as part of the profession they were doing it. But where is the time for people to take up research work? And that's what the drawback we had. One of the critical reasons for the little research being carried out is the bifurcation of higher education to two types of institutions. One is teaching institutions like regular engineering college, pharma college, and so on. And the other were focused more on research institutions. Like, for example, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, that's focused on research. As IITs, IIMs, and IIITs, they focus on research. But some of these institutions are left only as teaching institutions. That's not correct. We need to have an integration of both research and teaching has to happen. That's what the new education policy promises us. And there is also little research funding for related to the other nations. There's not much funding is happening unless you fund the things, and you can't expect research to come in. It's an investment has to be made if you really want quality research to come out in terms of infrastructure, in terms of laboratory equipment required, in terms of journals and other things which are required has to be funded by the government, has to happen it. And what is it NEP 2020 is going to offer to us? Itself set an enormous task of raising the gross enrollment ratio from the current level to 50% by 2035. That means almost doubling they want to it in the gross enrollment ratio for the higher education. The emphasis on making the curriculum flexible through an interdisciplinary approach, creating multiple exit points. The basic one of the objective is to bring in interdisciplinary nature. You can't have a tight compartment saying that I'm mechanical, I'm civil, electrical. No, you need to look at, for example, it's no more mechanical, it's becoming more of mechatronics is happening. Look at it. That means mechanical electronics combination, you need to think about it. The same is happening across all the fields. For example, today you look at entire medical diagnostic equipment. It's more of electronic equipments. And it's time BTech electronics students start looking at medical diagnostic equipment that's full of electronics today. And the Telangana government has thought about medical technology park is going to come up in a big way, where they're going to invite a lot of manufacturers to come and set up their plants to manufacture all these medical diagnostic equipments. So there's new jobs are likely to come up in that area. So that means you need to have a combination of medicine and technology integration here to happen. The emphasis on making curriculum flexible through an interdisciplinary approach, creating multiple exit points is going to happen. And according to the policies, single disciplinary universities will be established alongside multidisciplinary education and research universities going to come. The main focus henceforth will be multidisciplinary education, research universities are going to. The single, yes, fine, that's okay, but this is what is going to happen. And also there's going to be foundations going to be created for national research foundation going to be created to fund the research projects is going to happen. And one paradigm shift will be the establishment of Higher Education Commission of India, Higher Education Council of India for entire higher education. I don't know how many of you have. Today we almost have 30 councils, like All India Council of Education, Pharma Council, Medical Council, Education Council, so many councils we have. All these are going to come under one umbrella called HECI, Higher Education Council of India, except medical and legal, they kept aside, remaining all are brought under this umbrella is going to happen. That's what one of the major reforms they have done. There are too many councils, and that's going to be overcome that. And HECI will act as single supreme body for all higher education except medical and legal professions, which will replace all of the regulatory agencies. In fact, UGC, PCI, AICT, and so many other fields are going to be combined together now under one umbrella to make it one of the most centralized regulatory institutions going to happen. All that bring in one umbrella. Why so many things? And all four of the independent verticals also be responsible for under that HEC umbrella. There will be one vertical called funding, one vertical for grants, one vertical for standards, one vertical for accreditation process. You will have it. These four verticals will be there under HECI. It's going to talk about funding, grants, standards, and accreditation process. All that they're going to look at it. Many educators conclude that such significant government regulation will prevent the advancement of higher education in the long run. That's the opinion people about it. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. We can always modify if required, can be done. The National Education Policy also addresses the granting of greater autonomy to universities. is going to happen in a step that will phase out university affiliations over the next 15 years. All the universities we are getting affiliations, that's going to be phased out over a period of next 15 years. And each one of the colleges becomes universities, and they'll be grading on that. Maybe grade 1, grade 2, or high grade, medium grade, and low grade, and it's going to happen it. So students and parents are aware what kind of institutions they are going to join it. The quality issues are going to be addressed. And the digitalization of higher education and open learning systems to boost grassroots are given the extreme. There's going to be so much of material available for you in the digital platforms, maybe YouTube or simulation software, and so many other things are going to be made available on a digital platforms that's going to come up in a big way. And those things are going to be accessible to students. So that students need not complain that in my college, I don't have good teacher for so and so subject. Yes, that's going to be available on the HCCA platform, a digital platform going to be created. You can have it. What are the highlights of NEP 2020? Is a positive reimagination of India's existing education regime, whatever we have it. And it has some very impressive and appreciable propositions it has got it. The policy envisions a model of holistic learning and integrated. All that is going to be integrated happen. Holistic learning is going to happen. Not bits and pieces is what today we are talking about. And engaging the learners is going to fully involved in the learning process is going to happen. And the scientific temper, evidence-based thinking will be inculcated alongside it, aesthetics and arts and so on. All this scientific temper is going to come in. More of thinking is going to be given importance, not this by hearting and representing exam hall. Rote learning is going to go away. That's what NEP promises us. And the main tenets of this policy are flexibility, so learners can choose their learning, whatever trajectories they wanted. Learners can pick up the subjects now. This is what another beauty is going to happen. Yes, once you admit to a particular branch, let's say you are a civil engineer, there may be some 60% courses is compulsory. Remaining 40% you can choose whatever you want from various disciplines. That's the kind of beauty is going to happen in this new policy is going to happen. Equal promotion of art, science, physical education, and the extracurricular activities, so the learners can pack whatever is of their interest can happen. All that kind of stuff is going to come up in a big way. And multidisciplinary approach across the scientific, social sciences, arts, humanities, and sports. Emphasis on conceptual learning rather than rote learning. Creativity is going to be a lot of importance. Critical thinking is going to be even a lot of importance in this, because the student is picking and choosing the subjects what they wanted. So naturally the interest will happen. And also cultivating life skills like cooperation, teamwork, empathy, resilience. All these are going to be integrated into it, because life skills are very, very important at the end of the day. And that will be integrated in our undergraduate programs is going to happen. And regular formative assessments for learning rather than the existing semester. Today, we are all focusing on end semester exams or end year exams. No, it's going to happen. A continuous assessment is going to happen. And that's going to be given more importance to look into it. That's what we call formative assessment. It encourages pure tutoring as a voluntary and joyful activity for the fellow students under the supervision of trained teachers. It's more of a tutor. All that material is going to be available to you on the HCCA digital platform. So the faculty becomes more of a tutors, only helping hand kind of thing is going to happen. And that's what is not the spoon feeding business may go over a period of time. I'm not saying tomorrow it will happen. NEP seeks to facilitate multiple pathways to learning that involve formal and informal education models can happen. Both formal and informal models can be combined together. Formal is regularly what we do in college, and informal is you can go for the certification programs, prepare on your own, go and write the exams, can happen. And so the new policy aims to take this learning outside the four walls of a classroom, encourage students to imbibe from the real world. That's what is going to emphasize. That's what I said. Some certification programs, students have to learn on their own. They start learning on their own from outside the four walls of the classroom. That's the emphasis. And this is where the concept of learning, how to learn, and they can master the art of learning is going to happen. The focus is going to be more on how to learn, comes in another prominent feature of NEP. The basic objective is develop their thinking skills among the boys and girls. That's what is going to emphasize this. And abandoning the redundant culture of bookish learning. Today we are focused on everything bookish learning, and students need to analyze, understand, experiment it, and come out is going to be given more importance. There is another prominent feature of the NEP is going to happen. And keeping with the importance of rich classical languages and literature of India, that is also going to give an importance. You can pick up, maybe engineering graduate, you want to pick up, let's say, Arabic, yes, maybe Sanskrit, maybe Tamil, or whatever language they can pick up. That's going to happen. While languages like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia, and so on will probably offered as online modules for those who are interested in studying those subjects going to happen. All these language subjects are going to be offered online. If somebody is interested in learning something new, yes, why not? The way our students go and learn French, German, and so on, Chinese, and so on. The same way, why not Indian language? If somebody is interested, yes, that's going to be available in this NEP 2020. The policy seeks to introduce revolutionary structural reforms at the higher education institutions. There's going to be a lot of changes is going to happen in the policy once in. It promotes a flexible 3 or 4 year degree program structure at the undergraduate level is going to happen. And allowing multiple exit points for the learners is going to happen. People can come out and then go back. All the kind of entry and exit options will be available to you, can happen. There will also be considered effort to promote contemporary subjects such as artificial intelligence, design thinking, data analytics, machine learning, and a number of new subjects are coming up, also going to be made available to the students if they want to really take up that as a career for them. Look at the combination is going to happen. The UGC is going to be UGC and AICTE going to be replaced by HEC as a regulatory body for collegiate education is going to happen. And as opposed to the current teacher-centric, it's going to be more of student-centric is going to happen. And students' involvement is going to be much more. Student-centric model will be developed that will give students to right to decide the subjects what they want to study it. And so that's what is going to happen. And to make the higher education more progressive outlook will happen. I say policy is an excellent, there's no doubt about it. My only concern is how seriously we can implement this policy. I always believe all the policies drafted by the both state and central governments are excellent because after all they're decided by the expert committees. But the problem is implementation failures is happening. All the policies look at it. So one need to look at the implementation issues need to address. Exposure to art and design thinking is essential to improve students' creativity is going to happen. The design thinking is going to be one of the courses which is going to really make you to work on your thinking skills is going to develop it. That's in the way it's going to talk about it. And in problem solving along with scientific engineering and mathematics, the focus is going to be more on problem solving approach, not just learning theory and writing the exam and passing it. And so that's what is going to, more of problem orientation is going to happen. The new model, also called STEAM, will be an upgrade version of the current STEM. Today we have a STEM model, that is science, technology, engineering, and management. That's what STEM is. That's going to be replaced with STEAM model, that is science, technology, engineering, arts, and management. Arts is also included, which was neglected all these days. In a higher education bachelor degree level, as it is focused on experiential learning is going to be given a lot of importance. Experimental learning is going to be an importance. Application-based learning and research-based internship. This is what the focus is going to be on undergraduate programs. Experimental learning, experiential learning, application-based learning, and research-based internships is going to be given more importance in the NEP 2020 for the undergraduate programs. As part of holistic, all-encompassing education, students will be given internship opportunities with local industry, business, and local communities. It will also facilitate the local college to formulate a syllabus of their own, which can meet the demands of local industry, where our students can get the jobs locally. They didn't go all the way out of the city or out of the district or out of the state, not be here. So that is the kind of thing which is ensuring in the NEP 2020 is what promises to us. As well as research internships to improve their employability can happen. Their research skills will develop, their thinking skills will develop it, and their interdisciplinary approach will develop that will help them to increase their employability can happen. And that's what it promises. The NEP focuses on having a children not only learn, but more importantly, learn how to learn. This is what the point, please underline it. It focuses on having the children not only to learn, the more importantly, learn how to learn. That is art of learning, they'll be able to master it. That's what is the emphasis going to happen in the undergraduate programs is going to happen. The policy also talks about pivoting education towards learning about how to think critically and solve problems. More of problem solving is going to be given importance. More of thinking skills should that's what is going to happen. It not like just read 1 week before and write the exam and get the marks. That's not going to happen. It's going to be more of problem solving. I don't know if someone has seen IIT question papers, and they're totally more problem oriented, research oriented. That is the kind of thing is going to happen once the NEP is implemented. And so how to think critically and solve the problems is going to be an importance. And how to be creative and multidisciplinary approach is what's going to be given. You'll develop creative thinking skills and develop it, think out of the box. And also multidisciplinary approach is going to be coming in this policy. And how to innovate adapt is going to, innovation is going to be given a lot of importance. That's the need of the hour for the country. So we need to be innovative. My dear friends, innovate or evaporate is what the need of the hour is. And adapt the technology to suit to the local conditions. You may bring and import this technology, but we need to modify it to suitable to our conditions, our environment, and our kind of public to whom we are selling this technology. Absorb new material in the novel and changing fields. You need to observe the new material, implement in the changing field, changing environment, changing technology you need to bring in. All that is going to focus on this. This policy aims to facilitate a pedagogy that makes education more of experiential learning. Experimental learning is going to gain importance. More of holistic approach is going to happen. It and integrated with a lot of STEAM, I said it's science, technology, engineering, and arts and management is going to be integrated. And more of inquiry driven, that is inquisitive nature of students is going to be developed in this policy. That's what promises. And more of discovery oriented and learner centric is going to happen. It and more of discussion based. And as I said, the faculty is going to be more of tutors. So a lot of discussions can happen with the teachers. And that's what it promises. And a lot of flexibility for the students to take the course what they want. They can do for 2 years and then take a break, go and work and come back. So the students need not be burdened on the parents, and parents need not be funding so much for the education. And then also make the students more responsible citizens can happen. It thus instigating a sense of problem solving can happen. It and an attitude of innovation to the students instead of indulging in herd mentality. Today we are doing just bakri jate hain uske sath nikal jate. No, it's going to be more of innovation is going to focus, gain a lot of importance going to happen. And the implementation challenges, as I said, yes, policies are excellent. How well we implement it, that's a big challenge. I recall one of my friend was once vice chancellor of university. I don't name the university; it's not correct to do that. And when he took charge as vice chancellor of a technical university, he got the entire syllabus revamped for the undergraduate program. And when we met somewhere, he said, Sai Kumar, now my entire syllabus is on par with IITs. I said, good, excellent, you've done it. I said, no, it will be total failure, take it from me. He did not agree that time. He was vice chancellor. When he stepped down from the vice chancellorship, when we met again sometime later, he said, Sai, what you said is right. Yes, because you may bring in the syllabus of IIT or MIT or Stanford or Harvard, excellent. But also the university must take the responsibility of training the faculty of affiliate colleges to that level where they can perform it. Now, are we owning this responsibility? So you need to train the faculty to that level. And then, yes, because we can't throw away the existing faculty, so we can only train them to raise to that level, and then they can impart that kind of syllabus here. That's what is really concerned. You need to have it. A well-defined and futuristic education policy is a must for every country, because education is the key driver for economic and social growth, which we are talking about. Any country, if you want to destroy it, no need of arms, ammunition, bombs, nuclear bombs, all these things. just go and spoil the education system. That's all. Ruined it will be. So hence, a well-defined future education policy is a must for every country because education is a key driver of economic and social progress of any country can happen. Hence, you need to give a lot of importance to the education. Government has to increase its funding, and probably that's what they promise. Let's see. And taking into account their respective traditions and culture, different countries have adopted varied education systems. We need to look at our conditions, our environment, and same way every country has done this. Same way we need to think about it. And the policy has come at the right time, and the object is very noble, with which the policy has come out. But there is lies a world of difference between laying down a policy on a paper and following it on spirit. How seriously we are going to implement it. Implementation challenges are going to face many. That's a big challenge, let me tell you. It's not easy to do that. Hopefully, people address those issues, those concerns, and then talk about the success of NEP 2020 and the pace of its implementation depends on large extent on how successfully the government, universities, and colleges can tide over the practical challenges facing it. There are a number of practical challenges going to happen, and hopefully the Higher Education Council will have at least once in 3 months some kind of review session at regional level, because they can't expect everybody to come to Delhi or Chennai or Calcutta. So they need to have regional conventions, south, east, west, north, and there some of these principals can meet and address those concerns they have it, and that can be worked out. And that's what NEP 2020 promises. So the implementation challenge, learning or certificate or degree through flexibility in the higher education model to the concept of multiple exits is an important step for reducing the number of dropouts can happen. Now students can opt out at the end of each phase and then go out, work for 2 or 3 years and come back and then continue. It can happen. So they need not be a burden on the parents. Students can be self-learn, earn and learn can happen. Go and work for 2 years, earn money. With that, now you realize you need to pursue further education, come back, again study for 2-3 years, again go back. And that's going to be encouraged more and more. Not people just directly walking from KG to PG. That's going to be discouraged now, is what is going to happen. So a number of reforms are going to happen. A question still arises on the value of certification and diplomas because students' commitment is very important here. Students' involvement is much more important. Students' thinking skills are important. All this is going to be looked at it. And otherwise, all these days we have been seeing it. People say, yes, I'm BA, BSc, BCom, BTech, B Pharmacy. Got degree without an improvement. That should not happen once NEP 2020 is implemented. The Indian psyche closely associates jobs with the degrees required. That also thinking will go away now with these things which are coming up. Is going to happen. And hence, to implement the new system, we first have to dismantle the thinking process that only with a degree can one successfully secure a job. That is going to be dismantled. It's going to happen. That's what it promises. For example, some of you might have seen there's one person from Nalgonda, from the hand-woven tradition of their family, and he's a 7th class dropout. But he designed a mechanical weaving machine. Later, he converted as an electronic machine. He's a self-made electronics engineer. Please note this. A 7th class dropout, and he's been conferred with Padma Shri Award. So that's the kind of things he's going to be encouraged. Is what we are going to talk about it. And so this the orientation towards multidisciplinary education. The existing education regime excludes formal training and orientation towards pedagogy for colleges. The another problem what we're seeing is unlike the school education where teachers have to compulsory, along with the degree program, they have to have a B.Ed degree. Without that, teachers are not allowed to teach at the school level. 40 years back when we joined the field, it was compulsory for us to undergo compulsory 3 months training at technical teacher training institutes. But sudden growth of engineering education, sudden increase of number of colleges, that could not be done. So people just walked into the classroom as teachers. And so that was the problem here. The existing education regime excludes formal training and orientation towards pedagogy for college. Yes, so to some extent that need is fulfilled by academic staff colleges, or now they call UGC HRD centers. They conduct a 21-day induction program. They do it. It's all free, funded, fully funded with the government of India, and the college lecturers can go and attend that program. And if they're outstation, the hosting university will also give you free accommodation. The nominal charges sometimes they charge, but otherwise it's free. All the facilities are made available, not to just depend on technical teacher in institutes. Now, most of the universities, for example, in Hyderabad, we have JN2 has got academic staff college, UGC HRDC, now they call it. Usman University has got UGC HRDC, Maulana Azad National University has got UGC HRDC, and the University of Hyderabad also has got it, because I'm a speaker at all these 4 UGC HRD centers. They conduct every year a large number of programs. I think terminology about 3 or 4 induction programs, a number of refresher programs, number of short-term programs, all that is being conducted. It's free programs. It's open to any faculty working in a college can join with the, of course, their principal permission is required, the principal sponsorship is required, and you can go and visit their websites. You just go to university and ask for UGC HRDC centers. On the website, you will see. And these courses, you can, there are short-term courses of 3 days, 1 week duration, or long-term courses like 21-day programs, all that they have it. And we get participants from different parts of the country. It's not that administration only to local, no. We get people from different parts of the country, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, we get the participants in those programs. Last 6 years, I'm a regular speaker there. I think JN2, I gave about 50 lectures in the last 6 years in these programs. Maulana Azad National University, I gave about 50 lectures. University of Hyderabad, I gave about 10 lectures. OU, about 10 lectures I gave in these centers. So, all that facility, please use it. Then you come to know what is teaching, what is learning, what is assessment, how to do assessment process, and what is the accreditation process, and so many other factors they'll be discussing. And today, of course, now they included technology also. It'll be good. So people should think about management can utilize this opportunity. And so the urgency calls for an overhaul of the entire curriculum design has to be relooked at. Entire curriculum design is going to happen. There are a lot of changes going to happen. To make it flexible and organic for enabling foundational and higher order thinking and skill inculcation at different levels of education is going to happen. And a lot of thinking is going to happen. Thinking skills are going to be more important is going to happen. My dear young friends, I would like to raise a question at this point of time. And the academic year 2018-19, I'm talking about it. In the academic year 2018-19, did you finish the syllabus? Please put your reply in the chat box. I can see here. In the academic year 2018-19, did you finish the syllabus? Please type in Y or N, that's enough. In the academic year 2018-19, did you finish the syllabus? Yes, my dear faculty members, you have to start responding it. Please respond. Did you finish the syllabus in the academic year 2018-19? Are you there? Now I get a doubt. Are you there in the online? Oh, okay. People start responding. My dear friends, that's wrong answer. Let me tell you. Did you finish the syllabus or did you complete the syllabus? Think about it now. Let me clarify what is this. Finishing is with reference to time. Complete is with reference to quality. Finish is with reference to time. Or semester time, somehow you finish syllabus and say, oh. Completion is with reference to quality, is what you need to focus. So we need to focus on completing the syllabus, not just finishing the syllabus. Please think about it. You need to complete the syllabus. Theoretically fine, but are we really talking about quality issues in delivery mechanisms? With due respect to all of you, I'm not undermine anybody here. And if that is so, then how students are not able to answer questions in the interviews and the recruitment process is happening. So think about it. I'm not blaming anybody here. So you need to focus on quality issues. And the policy seeks to establish multidisciplinary institutions for higher education, replacing the single discipline approach is going to happen. It's going to be more of multidisciplinary going to happen. And that's how things are going to come up. And the road to attain the goal has been paved with good intentions of the people who thought about in drafting this NEP 2020 is what talked about it. And funding, yes, one of the major challenge, unless the government funds in terms of the research, in terms of the facilities which are required, and we need to utilize all the options as well. It will be fit to fully implement the provisions of NEP 2020 higher education given the limited resources at hand as of now. Government has promised they'll increase the funding for the higher education, but unfortunately the corona has taken away a lot of money of the government. And so let's wait and see how much funding they're going to give us for the education. We need to wait and see. Digital infrastructure for the purpose will include digital classrooms, expert-driven online teaching models. My dear friend, let me tell you, online education is going to continue. Corona may go away, but online education will continue. It's going to be more of a mixed platform happen. Face-to-face classrooms as well as online, both combined is going to happen in future. That's what is going to happen. All these days, when you're inviting experts to your college, they're coming all the way to your college to address your students and faculty. In future, they'll say, anyway, now we have the online platform, we'll address from our own offices. This is what's going to happen. So they may not come there because they'll have to waste a lot of time in traveling and coming all the way. And online, they can address for half an hour, 1 hour, whatever it is, and that's over. And also look at the positive side. Now, thanks to this online technology, now we can invite people from different parts of the country, not only different parts of the globe also we can invite, without incurring expenditure of their travel and other things. That's what the beauty of this online thing is going to happen. So look at the positive side. Now I can invite experts from different parts of the country without paying the travel, boarding, lodging, and all that, arranging for accommodation, all that I don't need to worry about it. That's a plus side. 2 months back, JN to Anantapur has done a program, the pharmacy department, and they had classes for the short-term program. They had done a 2-week program. They had classes from morning 8 to evening 8. And the idea is they have invited experts from different parts of the globe. Now their timing, our timing doesn't match. So that's how they had to schedule morning 8 to 10 class also, evening 6 to 8 class also. They're scheduled to accommodate their timing and our timing matching. And so they had the advantage for listening to foreign professors. Daytime, they were using the Indian talent, and during this early morning session, evening session, they were using the foreign professors' talent. So look at, without incurring any expenditure, they could get the foreign professors to address in the faculty meeting. It was a 2-week faculty development program. I was also one of the speaker in that, so that's why I'm talking about it. So this is what is going to happen. A lot of changes. Another major change is going to happen. Let me tell you. I don't know how many are aware. There's a concept called augmented reality and virtual reality is going to come in a big way. I can see clearly in the next 5 years, virtual reality is going to come in a big way. Once the technology is going to be available in a big way, a lot of foreign universities will start offering their courses in India at a cost Indian student can afford. Is going to happen. That gives an impression as if you're in the classroom. You're going to see all your classmates. Everything is like a live classroom will happen. That is the kind of technology that will come. I can see clearly in the next 5 years. So hence, our education institution need to get up. Otherwise, we lose all our students to their degree programs. Because there is place for people to say that I'm a Stanford University student, I'm a Harvard student, or a MIT student, or whatever it is. So we need to raise our standards, and so we will not lose our students. And I can see even in the Indian context, next 10 years, we are going to have virtual reality even in our classrooms. It's going to happen. All these are going to be realities is going to happen. So virtual reality technologies to overcome gaps in physical teaching and lab infrastructure. Now sitting here, I can use the IIT lab infrastructure and conduct some experiments. All the kind of facilities are going to happen in the virtual labs. You can do that. And uniform assessment schemes across institutions is what promises the virtual reality. And career counseling sessions can happen at a time of your convenience, the student's convenience, not like this 10 to 4 business. And teacher training to become adapted to new age technology is going to. Teachers are to be trained on these new technologies going to happen. Like, I don't know how many of you are aware, most of these UGC study centers conducted a series of training programs how to handle online sessions across the country. We had at least for 2 months, these programs were going on. 1 week programs, one after the other, continuously they were going on. That's what is happening. So same way, the future they may conduct programs in the area of virtual reality is going to happen. And this will continue to be a major challenge for a decade, because how do we handle all these new technologies, investments, and familiarizing ourselves and students getting familiarity, all that is going to happen. My dear young faculty, let me also tell you, technology will not replace teachers, but teachers who do not use technology will be replaced. Hence, you better get onto the teaching technical platforms and start using technology in your teaching environment. Has to focus on. The another area NEP 2020 has promises entrepreneurship is going to be major thrust areas for the NEP 2020. And so technical institutions must focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. That's what it is. And the college campuses are breeding grounds. That's what they say. College campuses, some new ideas can come up and they can try and experiment here and they can convert as a business area and go and set up their own enterprise can happen. College campus is a breeding ground for the startups. College campuses are where the best dreams and the finest startups take wings. For example, Google was created at Stanford. When they were students, they were working on it and they got the idea, converted as a business proposal and started this. Same way, Facebook was created at Harvard University. So number of such examples. Even Indian IITs, we have examples. Indian IIMs, we have examples. And some of the universities, we have examples. They converted. They worked in the college using all that potential we have, all that lab we have, it expertise we have, and converted as a business idea, went and set up their own enterprise. So the idea of NEP 2020 is to encourage more and more entrepreneurship, not job seekers, job creators they want. No more employment seekers. We have to focus on employment creators, employment generators is what's going to emphasize in the NEP 2020. This is what this is. The basic objective is see the invisible in mind and do the impossible is the orientation is going to happen for the students. See the invisible and do the impossible things is what's going to happen. If mind can conceive it and heart can believe in it, then you can achieve things whatever they wanted. That's very objective of NEP 20 talks about, and entrepreneurship is going to happen. And the problem is today we don't have that kind of environment in the colleges. When I go around the last 6 years I've been visiting a number of colleges. I see quite often when they go there, they give their college brochure. College brochures talk about, oh, we have 70% placements, 80%, and 90%. Some colleges claim even 100% placements. I have not come across even a single college brochure which says 5% of students rejected campus recruitment, they have become entrepreneurs. Can we target the Global Institute of Engineering and Technology in the next 5 years? I'm not saying tomorrow, the next 5 years. Can we focus on converting at least 20% of students as entrepreneurs? That is the need of the hour, is what you need to focus on. Encourage more and more experimentation, though the faculty and students can sit together and work on it and develop things, and which later on they can convert as a commercial proposal and set up their own business platforms can happen. And that's the need of the hour. So I'd like to see in the next 5 years, our college students refusing campus recruitment and setting up their own enterprises, and how the college management and faculty can help these boys and girls to design some new ideas, design some new technological solution to the existing problems, and convert as a business proposal and go and set up their enterprises. So think about it. So colleges claim they have a EDP cell, they have Institutional Innovation Council, and so many things they talk about it. What is the effectively is being used that kind of facilities are created in the colleges? If so, where is the output? That's what I'm looking at it. In the next 5 years, these so-called EDP cells or institutional innovation councils, can you really focus and say 20% of students rejecting campus recruitment and taking up entrepreneurship? That is the kind of environment we need to create in the colleges. It's high time we immediately start creating this kind of platform. Look at the faculty who are willing to work in this kind of ideas, innovative things, and then that's what has to be. Management has to clearly allocate some faculty for these kind of activities on a full-time basis. Is what they do. And if you're residential campus, say with the hostels and some faculty, they can stay on the campus, and the labs can be kept open beyond the college timings, and people can experiment it. That's how it has to be encouraged, has to happen. It. And if we do not address this challenge, we are going to heading a gap of 2 million jobs is going to happen. So hence, college to wake up and start strengthening EDP cells or institutions innovation council has to be strengthened further. And entrepreneurship can change this, and that's what is going to happen at a great technical institutions is one where each student gets minimum of 2 great job offers and still choose to be entrepreneurs rejecting these offers. That's what you need to aim at it. And whereas student is never going to think, I can create a business. You need to make them think that I can create a business. The student should be able to think about it. I can create a business out of my own abilities, out of my own learning skills, out of my own expertise, and out of my own creativity, they can talk about it. Let me tell you, if they can come at some innovative ideas, and they can go and present this idea in some of the leading technical institutions, such as IITs or NITs or IIITs, there they can go and present the idea. If they can win the competition, there's a substantial prize money. Let's say go and present in 10 different platforms. All that prize money can become a seed money for him to start his business. And once he's got a seed money, now we can go to the bank. I have the idea, I have the initial investment. Now banks can support and you can start your enterprise happening. And along with your technical innovation, if you can also combine with the business plan, if you can add it, taking the help of the management faculty or MBA students, and if you can present in the leading technical institutions, mostly for these entrepreneurship innovation competitions, the people are coming from industry to as judges. If they're really convinced your idea is excellent, they immediately call you and say that let's meet over a cup of tea. And they generally give 5 to 15 minutes of the time they give you in which you're able to explain. If they're convinced, they say, come on, the idea is great here. I'll fund the whole thing. Tell me how much money you want it. Let's enter into partnership or 60-40 share or 40-60 share, 50-50 sharing, whatever is required. And then, yes, it's going to happen. All this, I don't know how many of you, even Ratan Tata does funding even today. If it's a great idea, he's impressed. He gives time. Of course, he gives only time 5 minutes. And in the 5 minutes, if you're able to convince him, he gives you 15 minutes extra. And then, yes, he says, here is a check. Let's start the enterprise and sign the papers. This was there are numbers that people are willing to do these kind of things. So you need to work on, and that's where I'm telling you, if few faculty can stay on the campus, if there's a hostel combined, if the labs can be opened beyond the college hours, these things can come up. That's what you need to focus on it. If you don't nurture the entrepreneurship, there are always going to be somebody has to give them job is what they're thinking about it. And then turn setbacks into comebacks when you need to look at it. If you're smart, you can make a mark. Let me tell you, my dear young faculty. And I don't know how many of you really read the NEP document. It's almost more than 70 to 80 times the word entrepreneurship appears in the NEP document. Look at the way they have given importance to. If you want to, I can even give chapter-wise where this word entrepreneurship is appeared in the, because I read the entire document. I have all the details. So look at it, how much importance the NEP committee has given importance to entrepreneurship. We want people to come out of the college as entrepreneurs, set up their own businesses, what they think is they talk about it. I can't be doing the entire document for you, but a few things I'll mention here. Setting up startup incubation centers is given in chapter number 11, point number 11 and 12 of NEP document, you can see clearly. They talk about it. Setting up a startup incubation centers in chapter number 11 of the document, point number 11 and 12 talks about it. This is what they talk about it. I just give one simple example. Many things, 60 to 70 times it's appearing in this word. Higher education institutions have to focus on research and innovation by setting up startup incubation centers. Colleges have to set up incubation centers. This is what it talks about. Our technology development centers has to focus. And interdisciplinary approach is required, including humanities and social sciences research has to be integrated. That's what they talk about it. And I don't know how many of you during the pandemic scenario, a lot of innovations have come up. Go and visit the website of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare of the Government of India. You can see clearly the so many innovations have come up during the pandemic situation. This is what you can look at. It's available. So please see how many innovations have come up. So all that potential is there. And so it is critical that higher education institutions take the lead to undertake research in areas of infectious diseases, diagnostics, instrumentation, and other relevant areas. For example, our IIT Hyderabad has come up with a lot of innovations. IIIT Hyderabad has come up with a lot of innovations which can address the pandemic scenario. They came out. So it is critical that higher education institutions take the lead to undertake research in areas of infectious diseases, diagnostics, instrumentation, and other relevant areas where you can design. That's an area where you need to talk about it. And you should develop specific hand-holding mechanisms and competitions for promoting innovations among student communities. You need to conduct a lot of competitions for the students to talk about it and look at it. The National Research Foundation will function to enable and support such vibrant research is going to happen and innovation culture across higher education institutions. The National Research Foundation is going to fund in a big way, and it's for you to come up with some new ideas, innovative ideas, and they'll fund the projects. This is going to happen. And there's another thing which is clearly mentioned in the document of NEP, innovation and flexibility in academia, chapter number 12, point number 2, it talks about it. I repeat again, innovation and flexibility in academia, chapter number 12 of the NEP document, point number 2 talks about it. And in the past, we talked about choice-based systems. Somehow did not implement properly, results are not really encouraging. And CBCs will be revised for instilling innovation and flexibility can happen. The higher education institutions shall move to a criterion of based on grading system that assess students' achievement on a continuous basis is going to happen. On the learning goals for each program has to be looked at it, and making the system fairer is going to happen, and outcomes more comparable can happen. And higher education system also move away from high stakes of examination orientation to more continuous assessment going to happen. Comprehensive evaluation is going to focus on it, not this traditional exams is going to disappear. Let me tell you, over the years, I'm not saying tomorrow morning will happen. And comprehensive evaluation is going to give more importance. I have a question coming up for you. What is the difference between test and examination? What is the difference between test and examination? What is the difference between test and examination? No. My dear participants, please respond. What is the difference between test and examination? Go back to school days. We had monthly tests, unit tests, quarterly examination, half-yearly examination, annual examination, all that we had. What is the difference between test and examination? Nobody is responding. Well, friends, I can't wait for you because time is running out. So the test is about how much is known and what is examination. Mohammad Rizwan has responded. I'm happy for that. but I'm yet to wait. My young friends, attempt it. Attempting is important, right or wrong is second. I'm here to help you. Good, one more person has responded. Test is about how much is known in examination about remember who. Yeah, at least I'm happy one person has responded. Let me give the answer to you. Test is on a small component. That's why we call it unit test. Once that unit is over, once the chapter is over, we test it. Even the human medical sciences, we say blood test and urine test. Look at it, bits and pieces. Examination is a comprehensive understanding of subjects as a whole, is what examination is. For example, in BTech, the project was supposed to have an understanding of various subjects you learn as part of your BTech. For example, in the case of computer science, I can talk about it. When you're doing your project work as part of the BTech final year, you have to have the knowledge of your data structures, you have to have knowledge of design and analysis of algorithms, you have to have some knowledge of databases, some knowledge of data mining or data warehousing, and a combination of, and some language, programming languages, and maybe some kind of graphical interface which you have designed for your front end. All these combined things are supposed to do. That's what we say examination. Examination is a comprehensive understanding of the subject. All these interconnections you need to understand it. Whereas test is only bits and pieces. That's what is going to happen. And one more area where they talk about entrepreneurship is capacity building for faculty. Chapter number 13.4 of the NEP document talks about it. Faculty will be given the freedom to design their own curricular and pedagogical approach within the approved framework, but depends on how many students will register for your courses. If the good number of students are coming for registering your courses, okay, fine, you are there, and maybe you will promote and encourage will happen by the management. If nobody is coming forward to take your course, there's a possibility they may say, fine, thank you, goodbye. It may happen, especially private managements. So be careful. Including textbook and reading materials, selection, assignments, and assessments, all this is going to focus on it. Empowering faculty to conduct innovative teaching methods is going to be given emphasis, with the freedom given. Research and service as they see the best, whatever you think is the best, yes, you can implement it. And catalyzing quality academic research, chapter number 17, point number 11 of the NEP document talks about it. Quality academic research is going to happen. And the primary activities of NRFLB, National Research Foundation, will be to fund competitive peer-reviewed grant proposals of all types and across all disciplines is going to fund it. They'll be reviewed by the expert committee. If they find it's worth, yes, you will get the funding from the Higher Education Council is going to happen. And that's what is going to happen. And the basic objective is seed, grow, and facilitate research in academic institutions. The seed funding is given by the funding agency, and the college has to provide necessary infrastructure, and you can start growing can happen. That's what they talk about it. Particularly universities and colleges where research is currently in a nascent stage through mentoring of such institutions. And somebody will, I don't know how many are aware, when IIT Hyderabad came up, the IIT Madras was the mentor for them to set up the entire thing, systems and practice everything. The same way mentoring approach is going to come to the faculty also, to mount towards innovative and researchable aptitude to develop it, research aptitude to develop it is going to happen. So recognize outstanding research and progress, and such people will be given more and more funding, and you can do more and more innovation, more and more research can come up, can happen. If you can do a quality research work that get you further funding can happen, you can constantly work on those things. If you commit new innovative ideas, yes, the funding will happen more and more to you. You can develop so many things can happen. This is all going to happen. For example, look at the college. College promoters themselves are entrepreneurs. I don't know how many of are today. To set up an engineering college, it costs anywhere between 50 to 70 crores. Yes. Look at the land cost in Hyderabad. कहीं नहीं मिलेगा 8 crores से कम तो कहीं नहीं मिलेगा Hyderabad land. And minimum 25 crores they want it. 60 to 70 crores is investment. So it means the promoters of the college themselves are entrepreneurs. They took a risk and invested their money to set up these colleges. And promoters can set up incubation centers followed by government funding. The promoters has to encourage now because they already invested so much money. And why not we have incubation centers? and for which you need to have a strong network of alumni who passed out of the college, who are working in industry. And you need to appoint them as mentors for doing some innovation and research and entrepreneurship can happen. And alumni can be the best mentor because he has the practical knowledge of what's happening in industry can happen. You need to build an alumni database and have a regular assign each faculty with some 10 alumni, and they can continuously have interaction, and that can really be very good support for the college to grow, develop their incubation centers, Institutional Innovation Council, EDP cell, all that growth can happen. Each faculty can have a constant interaction with some 10 alumni who already has got, let's say, 5 to 10 years of experience with those people, not immediate pass out, there's no use. Those people who complete 10 years of service industry, if you can catch hold of 10 students each faculty and have a continuous constant license, and that would really help the college to grow and develop internal incubation centers and the EDP cell or innovation council, all that can develop it. Think about it. And so ecosystem in the campus, 1 or 2 faculty coordinators should be ready for these kind of things to happen. And you need to provide a roadmap for the entrepreneurship is what talks about it. The NEP promotes students and entrepreneurs with the exposure to vocational education in partnership with the industry. In alignment with the sustainable development goal of 4.4 talks about it. The sustainable development goal talks about it. NEP promises that integration of vocational education offerings in all institutions by choosing focus areas based on skills gap analysis. You need to identify what is the local gap which is there in the local industry, and is there a way can we offer some short-term courses and through which we can build a relation with the industry, and industry and institution can work together. Think about it. And mapping of local opportunities will develop entrepreneurial competence besides capacities, will go a long way to make vocational education as part of the larger vision of holistic education you talk about it. And think about it, the NEP promises so many things, so don't keep on. The new NEP has been lauded by many and referred as the need of the hour. A lot of people are now talking about it. An institution that will put the existing Indian education system at par with the advanced worlds, what's happening elsewhere we can be comparable with them can happen. That's what the NEP promises. And so no more employment seekers. Can we focus more on employment creators, employment generators? New education policy enables students to be industry ready as much as earlier age with lesser qualifications. You don't need to wait for BTech degree to happen. Even 10th class, they can get some additional skilling and additional practical knowledge, experimental knowledge, and they can start taking up things can happen. That's what it talks about it. Moving from a memorizing based education system to learning to do education. That means experimental learning, experiential learning is going to give an importance, is going to happen. In terms of enhancing the ability of the students to learn by way of doing and not just reading it alone. That's what NEP 2020 promises. And we are the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world is what the idea of building up that kind of ecosystem. And it is time for India to usher in the startup culture in the colleges and universities. Has to encourage more and more innovation culture, entrepreneurship culture has to be encouraged both colleges and universities, making entrepreneurship more accessible and acceptable in the faculty and students must happen. And from a bird's eye perspective, NEP appears to be an enabler of innovation is what I can see clearly from the NEP document. And normalizing risk-taking mindset is required. It's an adventure readily with obstacles, to say the least, is going to happen. And let me sum up. We're running out of time, I know. Let me sum up. The drafting committee of NEP 2020 has made a comprehensive attempt to design a policy that considers diverse viewpoints of, they collected viewpoints from across the country. There are a number of sessions that that all been summarized, classified, codified, and then finally incorporated. Diverse viewpoints, global best practice in education has incorporated in the NEP 2020 document. And field experiences and stakeholders' feedback also has been taken into consideration while designing the document. The mission is aspirational. Mission of NEP20 document is aspirational. The implementation roadmap will decide if this will truly foster an all-inclusive education, how seriously people are taking the implementation side, both by the universities, colleges, and the Higher Education Council of India. All these people need to think about it now. And that makes learners, industry, and future ready is going to happen. To conclude, NEP offers choice, chance, and change. 3 C's are going to be offered. You have a choice of things, you have a chance, and you have a change, things can happen. But we have to wait for things to unfold and see how it gets implemented. It's ultimately depends on the universities, colleges, and the faculty is what's the thing. Because implementation in our hands, the policymakers only can give the guidelines. So how seriously we understand this. And in fact, I would say colleges need to conduct a series of programs and to diagnose fully the NEP document. Internal committees can be created to look at in-depth study, understand it, and then only can implement it. Otherwise, you're just talking theoretical. And if the path is beautiful, let us not ask where it leads. The NEP promises the path, let us not ask where, and let's work on it. An old adage might serve as inspiration for all startups says, rise and rise again until lamps becomes lions. You may have initial teething troubles, you may have initial failures, don't worry about it. Continue to work on it, learn from the failures what you had and move forward. And that's in the way it promises. And Swami Vivekananda's quote, arise, awake, stop not until your goal is reached. You need to focus on it. Let me conclude with a quote, a new vision of India as a global leader. This NEP 2020 promises new vision of India as a global leader. How long we'll keep talking about India as a developing country, conflict transfer, developed nation. That's what NEP 2020 is, a weapon in our hands, how best we implement it, and we can transform the country as a global leader. But all this is possible if we can work with the missionary zeal and put in sincere, serious efforts and work on it with a missionary zeal, the way Mother Teresa has worked. I don't know how many of her Mother Teresa is not an Indian lady. She's a Yugoslavian lady. She gave me a radio service. At the end of it, yes, she got Bharat Ratna, she got Nobel Peace Prize. She also got sainthood. All that happens. So we all talk about with a high respect to that lady. So can we work with the missionary zeal of continuous growth and successfully implementing NEP 2020 policy document? So hence, I would strongly recommend you need to have internal committees. Each one can take one chapter, discuss threadbare, and come back and present to the total faculty forum in the college. And then you can really implement in true sense can happen. Think about it. Enduring passion for progress. You need to have the passion to excel in the field, whatever you are. Passionate is required, is what I'm not going to fashion. Fashion is personal thing. And a fusion of thought and heart has to happen. Both mind and heart has to synchronize. Wholeheartedly, you need to work for it. You need to utilize your mind capabilities has to happen. A fusion of thought and heart combination is required to implement NEP 2020 successfully and get the benefit of this document. In true sense has to happen. You need to have fusion of thought and heart is required has to happen. And once you implement successfully this, we can find an action for universal welfare can happen. India can become a developed nation can happen. I repeat again for your benefit. Can we have a new vision of India as a global leader? If we can successfully implement with all sincerity, dedication, and commitment the NEP 2020 document and work with a missionary zeal. You need to work with a missionary zeal. Dedication, passion is required. Fully involve yourself, commitment, both from the management and the faculty and students should happen it. And go rigorously, sincerely, believe in it and work on it. Enduring passion for, you need to work with the passion is to happen it. You need a discipline, dedication, determination, and devotion with which you need to implement NUP 2020. Then the results will come out, certainly can happen. And a fusion of thought and heart is required. There's mind and heart to synchronize and work with full dedication has to happen. if we can implement any patent document, we can find it's an action for universal welfare. India can be transformed as a developed country can happen. With this brief few session, I close it. If there are any quick questions, I can take it maybe a couple of minutes time. The floor is open to not to the participants. If no questions, I request the organizers to take over.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful session. Now I request Mrs. Sailila Vaishnavi, Head Department of Civil Engineering and Co-Coordinator of IQAC, to propose vote of thanks. Please, madam. Can anyone unmute Vaishnavi?
Sir,
Technical team, please unmute.
Sir, I have been unmuted. Thank you so much, sir. Very good afternoon, one and all. Professor Sai Kumar, sir. Thank you for sparing your valuable time, sir. You have enlightened all our participants with your knowledge, and thank you so much for delivering such a knowledgeable session today. And thank you all the participants, students, and faculty members of Global Professional Colleges for being here. Thank you, one and all, for your active participation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. May God bless all of you. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Technical team can end the session.